Hello family, it's African Esquire. I'm here with another video. I'm going to make a very bold statement, and that is if you are an African person and you still believe that at some point in your life or in the life of your children or your children's children, America will be what it should be to us, and that is a country that is going to treat us the way that we should be treated as human beings, but not only that, but give us what we're owed as far as the things that we have lost over time from having to work as slaves in this country, from having been historically disadvantaged. If you truly believe that you have a future in America, you have to accept that you are completely going against reason. The reason I say that you're going against reason is because you cannot name a day in the United States when we have been in America where we got what we were owed. Not only that, where we were treated how we should be treated. That's not to say that you shouldn't be striving to be treated right or that you shouldn't be striving to get what you're owed. But what I'm saying is if your only hope and your only destination is for America to be free and equitable and treat you right, that is unreasonable, all things considered. Now, I'm saying this because a lot of the discourse online from the Starbucks, of course, Starbucks racially profiling their customers and calling the police on two black men who were just waiting in the Starbucks for a friend, from the Waffle House shooting that led to 4 people, black people, being killed by a white mass murderer, to even the fact that Meek Mill, who just got out of prison, was facing 2 to 4 years for minor probation violations and could have essentially been taken away from his family. And had he not been Meek Mill, we all know that he would still be in the prison system, as many of our people are in the prison system. Given all these things, given the fact that we should not only know that we have been victims, but the country is going to continue to victimize us, what is any solution to our problems that does not consider us not being here? And when I say us not being here, it's not a rush type thing. It's not that we have to work quickly to leave America, because realistically we have to understand that other places where African people are also being inhabited by the same imperialist force. Africans are just as enslaved in the motherland as we are in America. So it's not to say that we pack everything and just go, but it is to say that we ask the fundamental question: what future do we really have in America? What future is there for us 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, 400 years from now, all things considered? And when I say all things considered, I mean given the fact that historically speaking, the country has never once, not one day of this country's history has this country ever treated us as human beings. So when people say, oh, we're making progress, I wonder what they're basing that off of. It can't be the economic situation. It can't be the economic, the landscape of the economics as far as our ownership of things, our ownership of businesses, our home ownership. It can't be that. It can't be the prison industrial complex, because that tells us that we're just as enslaved as we were back whenever we were actually legally slaves. We have to understand that there's more people right now in prison than there ever were, more black people than there ever were enslaved. So all of these things considered, what are you basing your belief in this country off of? What do you base your pride in this country off of? And that's even a bigger question. We have a lot of people who say I'm a proud American, or they say, yes, I support this, I support that when it comes to this country, but what is it based off of? It can't be based off of, I would assume it's not based off of the times when America has many times has been going into countries and raiding them for their resources and putting in place corrupt regimes to control those regions of the world. It can't be for what America has treated, America has treated us, and it can't be for how they've treated Native Americans. It can't be for how they have treated anyone who they have seen as someone who they could exploit. So what is your pride based off of? What is your American idealism based off of? And I'm saying this, and I'm only making these statements just to briefly say that we have to start questioning the psyche that has been ingrained in us. The second that you stop believing in America is the second that America has essentially lost its grip over you. Everything that you have been taught in the education system was intentionally created so that you can have belief in something that will never ever believe in you. You have been indoctrinated to believe that someday everything would be better, to believe that even all things considered, even though it was horrible that you were enslaved, you are better off having been a slave of this country than had you been free in Africa. These are all things that we're taught. We're taught that we have to say, I'm a proud American. If we don't say that, then we are essentially horrible people. But despite the fact that if you're saying that, you have to back that up as to why. It can't be the history of this country, and don't tell me it's the documents that say we're free, because there's just as many documents that say that we're not free. All of these things are essential to America maintaining its power over us. And I'm only saying this to say that we have to start questioning the way that we approach situations. We have to start questioning why is it that we feel like America would treat us any differently now than they have before. What has changed in America that makes you think so entitled to this treatment? And the answer would be that you should be constantly understanding that we are always going to struggle. We are always going to move forward. That way we're not reacting to things that happen, but yet we are being preemptive and thinking ahead, understanding that the same way this happened in Starbucks, the same way that this happened on a golf course, these things are only going to repeat themselves until we put ourselves in a position to not be subjects to white power. All right, that is all I have for today, and I will see you on another video.